Hello, my name is Jerry Awasi, and I'm a filmmaker. I'm a photojournalist. I'm specialized in documentary and travel photography, and I'm the founder of Ado Creativity Arts Media Company. We are into social entrepreneurship, basically. So, meaning on one side, we are for profit enterprise, and then on the other side was for social change. So basically my mission, my work, my goal is I have a vision since I was a teenager to create, inspire, and lead positive change here in my country, in Nigeria. And I'm doing this through the things I know how to do best in making of films, like mainstream feature-length films, documentaries, short films, TV series, and then in photography, and also in scripting for movies and for other content. This is something I have been doing since I left my secondary school and got into a higher institution for film and TV production, which I graduated with a diploma, and also for that with a degree in geography and in planning in the University of Jos here in Nigeria. So, but even for my days in the university as a teenager, I got involved in foreign missions, traveled across some countries in Africa, and from then I saw the need to change things, because having being able to travel outside of the country, I was now able to compare my own country, Nigeria, with other countries I had seen then. And since then till now, I have been to over 18 countries across continents, been to Europe also, and then in comparison and in study. So when I travel to these countries, I get to meet people, integrate with different cultures, get to meet those that have been involved in social change, non-governmental organization, government, and I'll be able to learn, okay, so were these other countries just like this from inscription, because some of the small countries surrounding Nigeria or in West Africa are doing better in terms of being patriotic, in terms of transparency in running governments, or in terms of being with integrity. They say something, they do that thing. So we have done that. And apart from that, I also got involved some time back on campus with government. So we moved I was president in my third year in school, and then we moved for a better way of running things on campus. Before I left, I went back, I even served with the military, and also there too, I initiated some change in the media and in a transparent way of dealing with those serving and those in the military. And I also moved from there and now started practicing more in the film industry, right? So I started as this is the headquarters of our company, based in Jos Plateau State, Nigeria. And so here I partnered with 3 of the biggest institutions for media here in the state and in the country at large. The National Film Institute, there's only one in the country, and then we're in partnership with them. We receive interns like yearly to come and give them hands-on, in filmmaking, photography, whatever it is they decide to learn and specialize in the National Film Institute. And we've also partnered with the school itself in workshops and all that for a greater good, for social change. Basically, we've been doing that. Also, the National Television College is also one in the country. It's based here in the town of Jos, Plateau State. We're also in partnership. We've received students from there for internship. The University of Jos is the only university that has the Department for Film and Theater fused together. We've also received students and collaborated with them, teaching them or getting them involved in the industry, the filmmaking industry, and enhancing their capacity in media generally, acting for film, writing scripts and all. And then to mention but a few, some NGOs, top on that list is Transparency International, which I'll elaborate more about, but Accountability Lab, Nigeria has been part of that too. We're talking at Tier Fund, we're talking about Search for Common Ground. We still have a valid contract. It's an organization advocating for peace here, and the Media for Peace. And so we've been working together in conjunction with some of these institutions. You know, we had a fellowship early this year before the pandemic, and we were able to do some workshop on filmmaking, especially on script writing and development of concept. And we have a work we should be on now, if not for the crisis. And then the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, we've also had dealings with the World Bank, the Nigerian chapter, in 2016, 17, and 18, and also the Ministry of Interior, Trade, and Investment. And, you know, across Africa, we've had things to do in countries like Gambia, Ghana, you know, Liberia, and most of this country, Burkina Faso, Niger, even the Francophone countries, we've had to collaborate with a lot of people there. But the chief on this list have been Transparency International, which also I know through the works I executed and was in the IACC. So I won one of the 5 awards available for social innovation. Has to be by youth less than 35 years old, from 18 to 35 years old, that has an innovative idea of fighting corruption or advocating for transparency, accountability, and integrity. So I won and was sponsored to the IACC, International Anti-Corruption Conference, that held in Copenhagen, Denmark in 2018 in October. And since then, a valid contract was signed that lasted from that year till 2019, which we developed a program called the 100 Pictures of Change. Now, the 100 Pictures of Change was, I brought up, the idea is simple. You said, okay, so we're going to use pictures, graphic designs, and arts paintings like this to be able to explain 100 ways to fight corruption in Nigeria. See, my ideology has been not to follow the stories on corruption, because like in Nigeria, a lot of people know that. So I try to see the good things that we could do that will actually mitigate corruption. Because based on my research, corruption is a thing that had grown because people have done nothing, especially youth. Around the world, and especially in my own country, youth think this has nothing to do with them. Corruption is a thing for the political class and co, but it affected everybody. You understand? So the thing is, based on that ideology with Transparency International, I was able to do the 100 Pictures of Change. It reached 1.2 million people on social media and on ground alone. We're able to have 38 collaborations with NGOs and co. 7 other initiatives started and are currently running in the country now by youth, because they were inspired and then they collaborated with what we were doing. To mention a few, Youth Making Impact is one of the organizations. There's Speak Niger, we also partnered. There's the Pictures of Positive Change initiative, which I'm heading and we're running now to move. And then we also did a feature-length film, which by the grace of God, the link is not ready yet, but I hope we'll make it available for people to watch. It was on youth involvement in whistleblowing. It's been our greatest achievement. We shot it on 4K. It's ready for the cinemas worldwide by the end of this month. So it's been a lot we've done here, and like the pictures we'll be using to interject this accordingly. You see that we've been working with a lot of youth. I think I've engaged over 500 youths within this period of time, a period of time of less than 5 years. Engage over 500 youths in media and other spaces to be able to work in the social entrepreneurship, filmmaking. My role and that of my companies in fighting corruption here in Nigeria. So particularly in my community here and then in most part of Africa, we are fighting corruption mainly from our leadership. So we have a set of people leading us that do not really process things the way we, the youth, process. So there's been that fight, and that is why in a lot of African countries there've been insurgency and then rising up in people taking arms. But then as a person, from the history I've been telling you, I've been well taught and educated, and I have a craft. I make films, I know how to do photography and a lot of media things. So I have seen that for us youth that have skills, we could use it. I've been talking with those in agriculture. So my leadership has been with first the 100 Pictures of Change, and then with many youth movements, like I told you, we are focused on using pictures
You know, pictures, they say, speak 1,000 words. I say pictures speak million comments and likes and followership, like, you know, on social media these days. So we use what our youth can relate to, because ours is a plan of a long term. We're dealing with people from 40 down, mainly youth, like youth from 35 below. That's the UN standard. That is our focus, to see that we get into their space in music, we get into their space in movies, we get into their space in fashion, through our filmmaking and picture processes, so that we relate to them, even in agriculture, in manufacturing, in those in the health sector. Like in these times of COVID-19 here in Nigeria, there's a lot of corruption around. I've been on the front lines working with the state for health. We've been filming, and you gather data from the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC. You gather data from the community, and instead of telling these stories of success to people so that they will gain something from it and see how we're working together to fight this, there's a corrupt element of faking a lot of things that are going on, like the figures. Some places they are heightening the figures just to get donations. That's a corrupt move. Like we know, I've not defined corruption from beginning. Corruption is, according to the Transparency International standard, is when people use a delegated power to them for personal gain, or for the wrong gains, or for the wrong use of powers that have been delegated, be it somebody elected in public office, or be it somebody, a high person in the private sector or in the public sector or anywhere. When you have power that has been delegated to you and you use it for personal gains, or you use it to oppress people, or you use it to make people's life not comfortable, but as long as it benefits you or your interest, and that is corruption. So a lot of this has been going on. Even with the pandemic, it has even worsened things around. But I have led a group of young people to see how we're fighting human rights. Like there's some of the pictures you're going to see here. A young man was shot by the military people who were there. As a media practitioner, as a filmmaker, we told the stories around it so that we'll bring the truth out. I went to the Nigerian Army Human Rights Commission, met with the military people. At least these are people I know very well. Like, you know, the military is my tough. We went there, the police, we spoke with them and said, we have to bring a breach to this. This guy has to be dealt with according to the law. So, as a filmmaker, as somebody that works with pictures, people spend a number of hours on the internet, surfing Instagram, Facebook, watching videos. Nigeria is a home for movies. You understand? People watch a lot of movies, and that's why I'm happy with this space I am. You know, even for lack of funds and all of the challenges in doing stuff, I have been looking at using mainstream movies. But then the message that will be encrypted in it will be to transform our mind as a people. And I'm hoping to succeed with the generation that's 35 years below in Nigeria, so that I know we'll cut down on our irresponsibility in terms of child right. We'll cut down on our not understanding leadership or making leadership for those that can just fight their way through it. But it will be for the best, you know, those that should lead, you understand, that will be in leadership place. So these are the stories of positivity, stories of real change that have happened to real people that we're capturing in frames of pictures, and then we're using films. Because you know, Nigerians like films, they're influenced by not just Nigerians, the whole of Africa. Like I said, I've been to other countries and I've seen that films, music, they speak one language across the globe. People understand this. So this space is very key and very important for fighting corruption. And so we're using it here to lead the positive change in Nigeria, and I'm connecting with a network of other youths, you know, in Southern Africa, in Northern Africa, in West and East Africa, Central Africa, to see how what can be of help to them. Many have called out, we've donated pictures to them for them to be able to use to talk in their own space. We've also given some clarity on how we'll be able to achieve this here in Nigeria. But so far the feedback has been good, because like I've had to meet a lot of people that are older than me in this space. I have had to be approached by people from other parts of the globe that, whoa, we like what you're doing. The United Nations, we've been speaking via webinar, and some other CSOs using films and pictures, paint works, and all of these picture-driven things that actually influence people's thoughts, and from the thoughts it goes into actions, and then it forms a way of life called culture. And we hope to shift this culture from that of a corrupt one to a one day having Nigeria that is not corrupt.
and basically giving their support also, and teaching, training them, supporting them, collaborating with them and CSOs, and even to the government of Nigeria. I was opportune to see the president of the country based on this, and the African Union put together a meeting, also met with them to fight corruption. So pretty much as a filmmaker, this is how my journey has been, and this is where we are now. We intend to make full mainstream TV series, feature-length films, and proper photo documentaries, and even elaborate photos. My advice is use these things that are making that waves, that influence people, that people go to Twitter and all Instagram, Facebook, and all forms of social media to spend time. Use those pictures, use those graphics, use those films, use those videos to influence people to be against corruption, to be more transparent, to work more for integrity, and to be more accountable. And I think with this, I have been doing a lot of impact with this. Even the people that work with me, they've seen their handwork gone as far. The guys in the studio recording with me now know that at this age, in fact, some of them started at a younger age than me, and right now they have made huge impact. And then I'm hoping you out there, we tend to inspire a lot of Nigerians to also be part of this and make impact. And one day we will sit like this and give a good testimonial that yes, we're able to change this country, and majorly was because of this thing we do, media, filmmaking. Thank you very much from Terry Jerry Awase and from the guys here, in the studio. We say thank you very much, Audrey Jean, Audrey Jean. I have to call it the French way, for giving us this opportunity. And you guys in Canada, we love you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.